Hello, and welcome back to English Digest. I'm your host, Seb.
And I'm Elsie.
And we are still in lockdown, aren't we? Well, not real lockdown. We're in semi-lockdown.
Level 3.
Level 3. Level 3. How are things going for you in Level 3, Elsie?
Okay, so I've been teaching online classes since students cannot go to school. And actually, it's a headache for me because I'm not quite sure if my students are really learning or understanding what I say. I can't really see their faces clearly. I can't really hear them clearly. So it's a challenge to me. Right.
It sounds like there's a lot of obstacles in teaching online.
没错. What are
Okay,
you?
so I guess you're hoping that you can go back soon.
Yes, I do.
Hopefully, we will get this situation under control. Maybe you guys are listening to this now and it's the future and there's no problem anymore. And we're all running around in big groups and there's no eating. Fingers crossed. And if not, stay home. But
没错.
But yes, we are all having to adapt right now and do things differently. One thing that we're definitely not doing is going on trips and traveling.
不能够旅游. We can't travel.
Were you planning on going on any trips in the summer this year?
My husband and I were planning to go back to the US to visit his parents, but we canceled that.
I see.
I like to travel a lot, but now I can't, but it's okay. We all need to be safe.
Exactly. I wasn't planning on going abroad because even before things got bad in Taiwan, it was still complicated for foreigners to go abroad and come back. Because the government needs to be careful about who comes into the country and stop the disease from spreading. However, I was using last year as an opportunity to travel a lot around Taiwan and learn more about the place that I live at. So on my summer holidays, I definitely like to explore Taiwan, especially Taiwan's east coast. That's somewhere I love going. So when you're traveling, Elsie, what do you do? Do you just go there and see what interests you, or do you plan in advance?
I plan in advance, and I usually plan when I need to go somewhere that I'm not familiar with.
Okay. Do you read reviews online?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay.
I think they're really useful, especially for hotels and restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you like to check services and things like that. I think reviews are very useful when you don't know a place. When you want to, I don't know, your first day in a new city and you want to see some new things, reviews can be very helpful. And that's actually what we're going to be talking all about today, writing travel reviews. So a travel review is just a reflection on anything that you've done on a trip. So it could be talking about how good an attraction is, or it could be talking about how good a hotel is or how good a restaurant is. And you share your opinions so other people know what to expect. I won't say any more. Let's go and check out our assignment for today's topic-based writing. Okay, so what is our assignment for today?
今天呢，我们要写的主题是日常生活中有许多的地方都可以看见评论，也就是我们刚刚在 introduction 当中提到的 reviews。那举凡景点、食物、人物、时事、政治、艺术，都会有一些评论，像是书评、影评、乐评也都是。那要写一篇至少120个单词的评论，文分两段哦。第一段要推荐一个你最近去的台湾景点，第二段写出你推荐该景点的原因，或是你推荐的行程。So our students are going to write their reviews.
I see. So we're going to be writing travel reviews. The assignment says there are many different types of reviews, and we can see reviews almost everywhere. In today's writing, you will be writing a tourist attraction review of at least 120 words to recommend a place in Taiwan that you've been recently. Well, I definitely haven't been anywhere recently, but we can think back to places we went before when we were traveling more. So we've already talked about reading reviews, but what about writing reviews? Elsie, do you leave reviews when you go somewhere?
Not really, unless the food or the service is really good or bad.
Okay. So in your opinion, what makes a good review?
I think a good review needs to be an honest review. You have to tell the truth. Don't tell a lie when you're writing down your review.
That's a very good point. I think reviews are particularly helpful when they offer a lot of detail about the services a place offers or the features it has. So, for example, if you're leaving a review of a hotel, you might want to tell people if it has a pool, restaurants, a great view, big spacious rooms. You should also give your opinion too. Hotel descriptions already list the features that a hotel has. People are checking the reviews to see if those features are any good. People often love to hear what you think. As a fellow customer, you're much more believable than the hotel is. Are we missing anything else?
没错呢，我们要将 features 特色写出来，也要附上自己的意见，也就是 our own opinions. And remember, don't write a fake one.
Right. Never write a fake review. If people find out, they're never going to believe your content again. Right, let's talk about how we want to develop our approach. It looks like today we're specifically going to be writing reviews for attractions. You know, 景点. How do we write a review for a local attraction, Elsie?
Good question. 首先呢，撰写景点评论的时候，通常会描述到第一个，景点的基本资讯；第二个，交通方式；第三个，便利性；第四个，是否收取门票；还有第五个 features 特色，也要把它写出来。除此之外呢，你也可以在评论当中表达你对这个景点是否推荐，并且说明原因 and to provide your reasons.
I see. So we're going to want to be very detailed in our description. Here, it's good to put yourself in the shoes of the reader. To put yourself in someone's shoes, by the way, means to imagine yourself in their position. If you were them, what would you want to know? Entrance price, directions, accessibility, value for money, those are all pretty useful things to know. So think about including them in your review. Actually, if you guys have some free time before you start writing, check out some travel vloggers on YouTube. Travel vloggers are people who make videos about travel destinations. Hey Nadine, that's Hey space Nadine, is a good example of a travel vlogger. These videos aren't just great practice for your English, they're also a good guide for writing reviews because vloggers have lots of detail and lots of opinions. It's a great way to get started on today's assignment. So what else should we think about when we're developing our approach?
第二个我们要注意的是呢，一篇成功的评论需要包含具体的事例来支持你的论点哦，让你提出来的意见是合情合理的，有凭有据的。换句话说，你的评论越真实就越有说服力。If you want your review to be persuasive, it should be an honest review. 那再来第三个，评论呢，不仅能够提升我们对某一个事物的了解，促进意见交流，还会间接或直接的影响某事物的发展，也可能带来改变。For example, 许多人旅行之前会在网络上搜寻该景点的评价啦，甚至是参考网友的实际经验、回馈或是照片，再决定是不是前往那个地方。那如果那个地方的评价很高，它的人潮就会可能越来越多。然而呢，毕竟每个人对景点的好坏或者是否推荐都是比较主观的，我们必须要具备批判性思考，可以参考多方的意见，并在参考评价的时候呢，同时要去判断你看的这个评价，看的这个 review 是不是 trustworthy， 是不是值得信任。
Right. Demonstrating your expertise on an area or a type of service will always make you look more persuasive. However, you also want to think about the language you use. It's often good to be slightly reserved when you leave reviews. If you say everything is the best in the world, people will stop trusting your reviews so much. After all, if you say everything is the best in the world, how are people going to know what experiences are better than others? Save best evers for when you're really impressed by a place. Right, I think we have some vocabulary to go over before we continue with our episode.
That's right. Here are some useful phrases you can use when giving recommendations. To give recommendations 就是去做推荐的动作，也可以用 recommend 这个动词来表示。
The next phrase we want to learn is my personal recommendation is. Your personal recommendation is the place or service that you think personally is best. It's the place you would go yourself. For example, if you want to try English fish and chips, 英式炸鱼薯条, my personal recommendation is a restaurant called Dazzlers at Baishawan in New Taipei. In my opinion, it has the most authentic fish and chips around.
Oh my god, you're making me so hungry, Seb.
Oh, you have to try it out next time you go to Baishawan.
I will definitely try it. Give it a try. And here, make sure you don't miss. 后面加上景点名称也是一个很好的表达方式。你也可以说 you definitely shouldn't miss. 后面再加上景点名称。For example, make sure you don't miss 七星潭 while you are in Hualien, or you definitely shouldn't miss Canteen when you are in southern Taiwan.
For sure. Another really good one is I can't recommend it strongly enough. If you can't recommend something strongly enough, then you really, really recommend it. Your opinion of it is the best it can possibly be. When people back home ask me if they should visit Taiwan, I say I can't recommend it strongly enough. I think there are so many great places you can visit in Taiwan that everyone should try traveling here once or twice. So I really recommend it.
再来呢，我们可以用 It's absolutely worth your time， 也可以在主词上放上景点名称，代表这个地方一定值得你去。
Another one which we can use is something is worth a try. So 景点名称 is worth a try. When we say something is worth a try, we mean 很值得试试看它. It's a good idea to try it at least once. We can be specific by saying the name of the place is worth a try for something. So Taidong is definitely worth a try for surfing. In my opinions, it's one of the best places to go and learn to surf.
再来呢，我们还可以用 I highly recommend 后面加上你推荐的东西、推荐的地点，代表你非常推荐这个地方。或者是呢 I would advise that somebody give 后面加上景点名称或是某种食物也可以，再加上 a try， 因为呢 to give something a try 代表的是去尝试某事物。So for example, I would advise that you guys give Café de Flore a try when you visit Paris. It's one of the most famous cafes in the world. Did I pronounce the name right, Seb? Café de Flore?
I think you did. I'm not French, so I'm not sure, but I think that is how you pronounce it correctly. Okay, I'll definitely have to give that place a try if it is your personal recommendation. Okay, now that we have covered all of this vocab, this is all really good vocab that we can use when we are putting together our review. Now that we've covered it all, let's move on and start talking about how we are going to brainstorm these reviews, how we are going to get our ideas out onto the paper.
没错。
Okay.
所以呢 brainstorming 非常的重要，写一篇评论之前呢，我们可以先列出这个景点的特色，再把这些特色延伸成句子，最后加以描述，变成我们自己的 outline.
Right. If you've done any of our units on picture writing, that's going to help you a lot here. Whether you're writing a review, travel blog, or news report, knowing how to describe something accurately and in detail is extremely useful. One thing you can do to practice is to practice writing about pictures. So here's an activity you can do. Go on Google Maps and find a cafe, a business, or an attraction that you like and open the photos of the location. Next, set a 1-minute timer on your phone. Now, give yourself 1 minute to write down everything you can about that picture. Use neutral language and avoid giving opinions. Just write what is objective, what you can see in the picture. So try and give the most detailed description of the picture as you can. This is a really useful tool for building up your descriptive writing, and it's going to help you a lot in writing assignments like this one. Speaking of which, let's take a closer look at the first example brainstorm that we have in our magazines.
OK, 所以在我们的杂志当中呢 It's about a tourist attraction in 高雄The 魏武营 Street Art Village. 然后呢，我们看到他开始写的是 characteristics, 也就是它的特色，像是第一个 large and colorful Wall paintings 代表又大又鲜艳的壁画。Number 2, right outside an MRT station 外面就是捷运站，也是一个特色。再来 Number 3, buildings with brightly painted tropical fish 建筑物上面有鲜艳的热带鱼图案，也是这个魏武营的特色之一。
Remember what I said about objective language? Everything in our first example is things that you can see. There's no opinions given. Why do I keep saying no opinions? Because the more objective your review is, the more useful it is to everyone that reads it. The same goes for writing news reports, but that's another story.
没错，所以呢，我们在开始的地方，第一段的地方，我们要去描述的是这个客观的事实，也就是我们刚刚那3点当中看到的，就是他看到的东西，知道的事实，把它写上去。
Okay, so next we have all of these notes for another place, which I personally really love, Fulong, which is in New Taipei. So they've written down some characteristics for Fulong. It has sandy shores, easygoing vibes, sand sculpture art festival from May to August, cheap entrance fee, sup and cycling, and breathtaking views. Okay, so I actually want to correct something that I said before. You can give some opinions in your reviews. It's good to give opinions. However, you need to be clear between the thing when you're describing something, which you should be objective, and giving your opinions. So notice here, we've got a lot of descriptive things. So sandy shores, sup and cycling, breathtaking views. These are things which are more objective. They're more just saying what can be seen. And then we've also got some opinion as well. Easygoing vibes, for example, is what the author might think.
Or
so when you're organizing,
fee, right?
Sorry?
And cheap entrance fee, right? That's also subjective.
That's also subjective. So when you're writing your review, you can organize your ideas like that. So you can describe it in objective language and then say, personally, I thought that the views were breathtaking and the vibes were very easygoing. And for me, it was very cheap. So you get a sense of what the person thinks and what it's really like. And that really creates a very useful review. Okay, now that we've covered our brainstorm, let's get on to our outline. It's time for us to prepare how we're going to lay out our review. So as I've said before, outlines are a great planning device that will get your ideas in order and help you organize your writing in a really efficient way. We don't want to spend too much time writing on one thing or something else. So I'll give you a little secret. If you do an outline, a very rough outline, it will give you a direction for your writing. None of us really know what we want to write when we first sit down. Those ideas come to us as we go. So your outline will really help you get those thoughts in order.
没错，架构是非常重要的。有了架构，我们才知道我们写作的方向是什么。再来呢，每一个段落都需要一个主题句。这个我们之前也都提过了。Topic sentence 1这边给的是呢 My family and I went to 高雄 and we saw some street art. 然后你会看到 A 他写的是There's a group of artists that covered the neighborhood with colorful wall paintings. B Finding the Wei Wu in street art village was a lucky accident. What does that mean, Seb? A lucky accident.
A lucky accident, that's a great little concluding sentence. A lucky accident is something that you do by mistake, but that turns out to be a good thing. What the sentence is saying is that the writer didn't mean to go to Wei Ying's street art village, but they are very happy that they ended up there in the end. It's a creative way of saying that they recommend going there. We could also say finding the Wei Ying's street art village was a happy mistake. A happy mistake is the same as a lucky accident. Elsie, are there any places that you have visited in Taiwan that you would describe as a lucky accident or a happy mistake?
I remember one day before the lockdown, the level 3 lockdown, my husband and I were driving around and we came across this secret beach called 洲子湾 in Sanzhi. Have you heard of it before?
I've never heard of that place before. It must be very secret.
So I can say it was a lucky accident, right?
You can. You weren't planning on going there, but you found this place and it was very nice. Okay, let's look at the second part of our outline. Our second topic sentence is, while traveling, my recommendation is to follow your curiosity. That's very good advice. Follow your curiosity is to do things that make you curious or go where you are curious to go. So similar phrases we could say are to follow your heart. When you follow your heart, you do what you feel is right, okay? So if you think that something is good or bad, then you do that. You don't overthink things or plan things practically. Let's look at how they expand on this. So while traveling, my recommendation is to follow your curiosity. My family and I wandered the neighborhood. Okay, so here's an example of them following their curiosity. Make sure you don't miss the street with brightly painted fish, okay? And it's some advice for people who might be going to Wei Ying Street Art Village. And I can't recommend this place strongly enough. And lastly, we have our concluding sentence.
没错，两个段落的架构做完之后呢，我们要来想想我们的结论句要说的是什么。这边用到的是呢，刚跟同学们提过的 It's absolutely worth your time， 它一定是非常值得你花时间去看一看的地方。
Okay, let's take a break here and then go and check out our examples, our basic sample and our advanced sample, and give you guys some great writing tips. Basic sample. My family and I went to Kaohsiung recently, and we were lucky enough to see some amazing street art. There's a group of local artists called the Wall Rears, and they've covered this whole neighborhood with large, colorful wall paintings and graffiti. Finding the Wei Ying Street Art Village was a lucky accident. As we left the MRT station to buy a drink at a convenience store, there was a huge, finely detailed painting of a bookshelf right outside Wei Ying Station's Exit 5. While traveling, my personal recommendation is to always follow your curiosity. My family and I did just that and wandered the neighborhood appreciating the art. There is so much of it and in so many styles, but make sure you don't miss the street where all the buildings are covered with brightly painted tropical fish. If you're in Kaohsiung, I can't recommend the Wei Ying Street Art Village strongly enough. It's absolutely worth your time. Okay, so our first example covered everything we really needed to talk about. One bit of vocab which I think we can talk about here is murals. Okay, we didn't see the word mural in the actual passage, but they talked about a large or a huge, finely detailed painting of a bookshelf, which was on the side of a building. Now, this is a mural. A mural is a large painting that is done on a wall or the side of a building. Mural is similar but different from another word, graffiti.
Right, graffiti 它代表是涂鸦，所以 it seems that graffiti is more informal?
Yes, I think it's about perspective. So normally people talk about graffiti like it's a bad thing. So when people write words on walls and they shouldn't be doing that, people normally call it graffiti. Whereas mural sounds more positive. It sounds like the government said, you can paint something here. However, perceptions of graffiti are changing and there's lots of really cool graffiti art. So just because somebody calls something graffiti doesn't actually mean it's a bad thing. It's all about culture. Okay, let's look at the advanced sample now. Advanced sample. I decided to kick off my travels this year in Fulong, one of my favorite destinations in the north of Taiwan. This charming little town and its sandy shores are a must-go for vacationers who want those easy-going island life vibes. What's more, the International Sand Sculpture Art Festival brings waves of tourists to the beach annually. It lasts from May to August, so don't miss your window of opportunity. I headed to this idyllic beach in late May with friends, with each paying just 10 NT dollars for entry, along with the 80 NT dollars or so for the train from Taipei to Fulong Station. Totally worth the price. Simply wandering through the sand sculptures to appreciate the work of talented sculptors from around the world is the essential activity here. It's also worth renting a supboard and taking a leisurely paddle around a stretch of still water. Some might be looking to really dodge the crowds though, and in that case I highly recommend renting a bike and cycling the old Caoling bike path. This 8.5-kilometer bike route winds along the seaside and offers some breathtaking views for visitors to drink in. We ended up right back in Fulong, where we could return our bikes and sate the appetites we'd worked up. Wow Cafe was worth a try for its great burgers and beers. You definitely shouldn't miss this fantastic seaside town, so be sure to visit Fulong this summer. Okay, so we got a much more detailed review here. We got a really strong idea of what Fulong is like, all the things you can do, and this personal experience of the writer. One thing, I actually think this is a bit more like a blog than a review because it has so much detail. You could actually write this on a website and add some nice photos, and this could be your blog about traveling to Fulong.
Right, it's kind of long.
Exactly. So to kick off our analysis of it, let's look at the word to kick off, which they used at the beginning. So to kick off means to start something, normally in a sudden or exciting way. So for example, they kicked off their travels, but we could talk about kick off to talk about maybe a sporting event. So they kicked off the sporting event with a speech from the team's captain. Now, while I'm talking about sports, I can also say that kickoff is a noun, and as a noun, kickoff means the start of a soccer match. So, for example, kickoff is at 2 p.m.
OK， 所以 kick off 当名词用的话，也可以代表比赛，像是足球啦，或是美式足球，它的开打。
They also talked about drinking in the views and the scenery. So this is a really nice thing, which I liked about this sample. When we drink in something, we appreciate it normally slowly and at a leisurely pace. So it's a really enjoyable experience. So for example, I sat down at a roadside cafe and drank in the views of people walking up and down the street.
Okay, what about this work up an appetite mean?
Oh, work up an appetite. That's a good one as well. When we work up an appetite, we make ourselves hungry by doing something active or tiring. So hiking, homework, having a meeting, or recording this TP are all ways of working up an appetite. I'm very hungry right now.
Me too. Okay, 那在这个范例当中，我们看到的 the appetites we'd worked up， 它是 work up an appetite 的倒装。那 work up 它可以表示的是激发、激起的意思。
Okay, well, that's all the time we have to analyze this advanced sample. You guys can take a closer look before you start writing your travel reviews. And also think about the places which you went maybe last year or earlier this year that you really enjoyed. Pick somewhere that is special to you. We will be joining you next month with more exciting writing tips, but unfortunately for this month, it's time to say goodbye. So for English Digest, I've been Seb.
I'm Elsie. Bye.
And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.